Welcome to Raw and Unfiltered. It is unleashed. So far, minus Malcolm. Let's see. We're waiting again, as per usual, for our I Spy to show up. Where he is, nobody knows. Lev, if you have a chance, you could do better than I in tracking down our spy.
I, I, I'm working on it right now.
I want to thank everybody for joining. We have so much to talk about, whether it's, of course, the mass shootings, whether it's the level of stupidity that we're dealing with out of the DNC. One thing that you're going to always hear from Lev, from myself, from Malcolm, the other folks that we have on our Substacks when we're not doing it together, folks like Don Lemon, folks like Joe Walsh. The things that you're going to hear from us is the desperate need for us to build a community. On on average, we're doing about 2,000 plus people per episode. That's, of course, until Substack starts to fuck around with the platform and everything is delayed by 10, 15 minutes. And then it goes into this weird mode where I could barely make you out, and you're sort of 3 minutes off in the movement of your synchronization from what you're saying to your lips moving. It's so irritating. I wonder if everybody is experiencing this, because it really pisses me off. We need folks to join our community. So you get 2,000 people, as you were saying to me before. There's 300 million Americans in this country. Maybe 260 million are actual voters. Seriously? Seriously? Is that where we're at right now? Where you don't give a shit enough in order for us to get a community big enough to make a difference in 2026? And I'm really not talking to each of you. You are our backbone. You are our community. You're our, you inspire me to do this, and Lev to do this, and to write every single morning as we do. I'm talking about the DNC, this worthless group of idiots that, as Lev just had Mary Trump on, talking about. You know what, Lev? Since you were fortunate enough, Mary won't come on my show. She won't even talk to me, right? So good for you. But my question to you is not my question. Please tell this audience, those that maybe weren't watching you with Mary Trump, your thoughts on this entire topic.
Well, it was incredible to hear. This was the first time me and Mary spoke. I've been trying to reach out to Mary, but there have been people blocking us. Also, it's incredible to watch. But finally, and to hear her perspective on it was identical to ours, Michael. She literally, said the same exact thing, and I was amazed to hear, saying that nobody's calling her, and she's, and you gotta think about it. Forget about the fact that nobody's calling us. The fact that we are, people like Michael, Mary, myself, and it's a very small group of people that are willing to go risk their freedom, basically, because you see what Donald Trump is doing. Just imagine if tomorrow one of us linked up to, let's say, Brisker, and well, you don't think Donald Trump would try to go after us, or even more, or do it's not like some fun game we're trying to do. We're trying to give our insight to be able to save our democracy, because we see what they're doing. They're not doing the right thing. They are, I don't know what the reason. I mean, I asked Mary the same thing. I mean, and I think your answer is a little better. I agree with you when it comes to, I think that it's all about the money, Michael. Because if I had a check right now for $1 million, I guarantee you each and every one of these politicians would be sitting in front of me like this and saying, Lev, what would you like me to do? What would you like me to say? How would you like me to reframe it, put that
Right.
in?
I was watching your thing. By the way, Sue F., just so you know, Nicole Wallace, she doesn't talk to me anymore either. It's amazing how many times I've been on her show. I've reached out just to say hi. Literally, I don't want to be on the show. I just called to say hello, to see how she's doing, to see how her son, is doing at baseball. My son was a big baseball player. Hers, who's much younger, is very much into it. I was just calling to say hi, see how she's holding up. Not a response back. Zilch. And so after a while, you turn around. I don't know why. I don't know why, but
But
after
it's
a
interesting.
while,
Wait a second. You know, it's interesting you said that because I've also noticed it. Like, even, I don't want to call them out there, but like Ali Vashi, all these people on
Ali, I
MSNBC.
speak to all the time.
But for me, I'm going to say it the way it is. It's like, people that I've helped, given information, and
Sure.
like I'll even send, something will happen, and I'll send them and say, hey, listen, give me a call. Let me tell you what. Nothing, zilch. Not even like, as soon as after my documentary came out on MSNBC. After that, literally zero. Not one interview request. Not you know what? They didn't even promote their own documentary. They didn't even have. They didn't even have. Like usually you would have, like, on every show you'd go on talk about.
Sure.
Not one show. Not one show. What's it called? So
But look, like I say, I don't give a shit, right? They're not going to be the end all be all in terms of protecting our democracy or doing what they have to. Maybe they were told by the powers that be that people like you, Lev, people like me, people like Mary Trump, right, that we're so toxic to what they call themselves, NBC Now, right, or MSNB Now, or whatever the hell they're calling themselves, that we're so toxic to them because Trump is going after these various different media outlets. Well, that's okay. We have each other. We have Substack. We have all of you. Fuck them. There's no other way for me to describe it. You know what? I'm concerned. This isn't about, and you hear me say it all the time, this is not about Donald J. Trump. This is about Trumpism. This is about not wanting to see our democratic republic fail because we don't have a tripartite system of government. And that's why I want to see 2026 go the democratic way. Because my belief, and it's not just a notion, it is a fact that if we are not successful, Lev, in 2026, this country is fucked. All right? Let me be clear about it. We are fucked.
I tell you honestly, Michael, I've never even considered, never spoke about it, and even like what last, me and you had that conversation when you said that you wanted to leave the country if he wins the first time. But I'm telling you honestly, I mean, we don't win in 2026. I mean, there's no, I do not see a worthwhile staying here. I mean, what would make this any pleasant or great country? I mean, because with every day that passes on, we're going further into dictatorship. We even have the guy now himself just basically saying, he's already saying, people are saying, Michael, people are saying that dictatorship, it's okay as long as, he stop crime. People are saying that, he doesn't want to be a dictator, but, it's okay to be a dictator as long as you stop crime. Just think about how far out we have come out that we're even, I mean, I don't know even what to say. I mean, the other thing, Michael, I'm hearing, and I didn't get a chance to speak to Mary about, because she had to go, but maybe I don't know what you're hearing about is his health. I mean, that I'm hearing literally that he's not as healthy now. I don't know what. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving him some kind of medical condition. I don't know about the veins and the blood. I mean, from just as an average person, somebody that just is from watching the pictures, the videos, and stuff like that. Obviously, you could tell that that's not normal to have a spot like that, and you could see the cover-ups happening with the makeup and stuff. I mean, you even spoke about it. You yourself said you take what's it called, thinners, blood thinners, and you don't have those type of marks. So I'm hearing, and I don't know to what degree, but that he's not, again, this is these sources are not coming from around him. They're coming more closer to around like the Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, JD Vance crowd. That he's not doing so well. So
Yeah.
maybe they're just
So
maybe they're
let
just
me let
hoping.
me
Maybe
say
they're just
let me
maybe they're just hoping that he's not doing
right.
so well.
That I was going to say the same thing. That that's their wishful thinking. You could say whatever you want. They can say whatever they want. He is not suffering. And I'm telling you from firsthand knowledge, firsthand, not second, not third, firsthand.
That's what I'm asking you.
He is not suffering from dementia, and his health. Listen, is his health is, let's just say, age appropriate. All right. Is he, as he would like you to believe, as healthy as he was when he was 21? No. But is he in a crisis where his health is failing and all that? Absolutely not. Okay. Let me be crystal clear about it. This is not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even helpful when we're trying to do, Lev, like what you and I do every single day. We try to provide facts that will bring us to the successful outcome. I don't want a death. I don't want to see. I don't want to see impeachments. What I want to see is our democratic republic survive, and the only way it survives is if we break up this control that the administration has over all three branches of government. Plain and simple. I am laser focused right here in my head, trying to, like you, to develop the community so big and so powerful that morons like Ken Martin, if he sends me one more fucking email about money, telling me how strong Trump is becoming and everything like that, I may actually just, block
What are
the
they doing,
website.
Michael? What are they doing with all this money? This is what
I,
pisses me off. Like, where? I mean, because you, the people out there, are sending them hundreds of, I mean, billions. I don't know what dollar amounts. I don't want to just say a number, but a
what
lot
are you
of
talking about?
fucking
They
money.
raised, Lev. You're right. They raised in an election cycle well in excess of $1 billion, more towards 1.5 billion.
Are you? I tell you, Michael. I swear to you, I feel like I don't want to say because I feel like Donald Trump by saying it. I think that me and you with $10 million could save our election democracy quicker I don't think with the billion, just like
By
Donald
the way,
Trump.
you know what? You know what
It's
we would
crazy
do.
to think that. Like,
You know what we
that's
would do it.
insane.
You know what we would do with that money? We would start going to all the red districts,
Yes,
to all the red states,
yes,
to the
yes,
purple states, and
yes,
sit there. Imagine Lev, myself, Mary, Trump,
yes.
Malcolm, if he would ever fucking find his way out of whatever hellhole he might be in right now, and others. We would bring them there and engage the people in the towns. Engage with them so that you understand. We hear you. We understand what your concerns are. But let me feed you fact. Let me give you truth. Let me turn around and let me express to you that we are here to understand your concerns and to make this country better for all Americans, not just the uber 1/10 of 1%. Plain and simple. One of the things, Lev, I actually just want to throw in here on this is how many more times are we all going to see the prayer emoji? How many more times are we going to hear elected politicians on both sides of the aisle with their thoughts and prayers? You know, I I talked about this the other day. Um, when I was a young boy, there was an elder man. I shouldn't say elder. I mean, it's funny. He was probably my age at the time, or a few years older, who was shot and killed. People came in. He was in the real estate business. He was a neighbor. He used to take me to Temple every Saturday because I wanted to get there early. I had friends that were meeting me there, and they were my next door neighbor for many years, and so on. And they had kids that were my age, grandkids that were my age, and he was shot by somebody trying to rob the office. In those days, they didn't have ACHs or checks. People used to pay their rent in cash, and this stuff really affects me. And I've spoken with folks like David Hogg. I speak to Fred Gutenberg. who's the father of
Fred,
Jamie.
I know Fred very well. Good guy. Very
I spoke to him this morning, just to see how he was holding up. And I put out a Substack first thing this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, went live at about 7:30. Prayers don't heal bullet wounds. And I said, there's a familiar routine that follows every mass shooting in America. The sirens scream, families cry, politicians tweet out their well-worn lines about thoughts and prayers. Reporters descend on a town that never asked for the spotlight. And the rest of us, numb by the frequency, we brace for the inevitable question. Why? Why did this happen? Is the question supposed to make us feel better? Like if we crack the motive, we can make sense of the carnage? But what comfort is there when the answer is almost always the same? It is a disgruntled and angry and depressed, a mentally compromised individual with a personal grudge or grievance, armed with a legally purchased high-capacity assault rifle, unleashes hell in a place that should have been safe. I mean, we're talking about this time a church. It was a church. And you know what, Lev? The church they did right. They had the doors locked. He couldn't get in. So what did this asshole do? He opened fire through the window.
Through the windows. Michael, I mean,
This is the topic that we all need to be speaking about. How do we protect our children, our grandchildren, your children, friends' children? What do we do here, Lev?
I mean, Michael, I agree with you 100%. To me, this is one of the most, I mean, I wrote a Substack. I actually didn't know, I was all fucked up that whole day, couldn't write a letter, didn't know what to do. And at like literally 11 o'clock at night, I said, fuck it, let me share with everybody what I went through. And I wrote my letter, a phone call no parent should ever have to have. And I went through the same thing with my own daughter. Literally, when they had here in Florida, they had a shooter, a person with a gun inside the school. And when I got that phone call saying they're driving up there, with the crazy thoughts in your mind, thinking about if you're ever going to see them again, getting the text messages that we're hiding in the closet, her sending me pictures of armed SWAT teams walking into the hallways. And yesterday watching what happened, it kind of, hit me with PTSD and reminded me of how fucked up of a world we live in, and there's a quote, March for Our Lives said it best. It said, today, these little kids at an evacuation Catholic school were forced into a club no child should have to join. It's a fucked up club. It's grown because its so-called leaders refuse to act. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, it was 9/11. I remember my daughter was in school. I happened to have been on 22nd Street at the accountants. We watched as the building just disappeared from our site. We were up on the roof watching. And I remember literally in my suit, in carrying my attaché in my shoes, running up to 77th Street in order to make sure that my daughter was okay. And like you, all you could think about is the bad stuff. You don't think about good stuff. And I remember as people were walking as well, they were covered in soot and all that. Now, this, of course, is different, very different than yours, but it hits a PTSD that, it's a trigger. And I'm blown away. Two children, Lev, 8 and 10 years old. Think about that. Those of you that are with us, think about that. 17, actually, it's now 18 others that are
And,
injured.
and you know the crazy part, Michael? It's not, and what I don't understand, this is not about taking away Second Amendment rights. Nobody's talking about it, but there's common sense gun reforms, like banning easy access to assault weapons. I mean, that should not be a partisan issue. That should be something easy. We all have kids, Republican, Democrat, universal background checks, red flag laws. I mean, uh, these are things that shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. And instead, you have our leader, Donald Trump, and I want to quote him on literally something that he said literally a few weeks ago, because I don't see where he is, coming out there, why he's flying out, trying to protect the kids. Instead, what quoting him, he said, "I will protect the rights of self-defense everywhere. It is under siege, and I will sign a concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end on the state line." So basically, instead of going out there and trying to put in these sensible reforms, he's expanding, taking away state lines and taking the rights away from states. So now, if I have a gun in Florida, I could come into New York with it, no problem, not having an issue.
Well,
And
that's because they're using the Second Amendment, which of course is federal, in order to, well, for lack of a better term,
no, no,
trump
I'm right.
to trump city and state rights, right?
That's right. Sick.
Yeah. Lev,
But
it's funny because I had a line in my Substack that is exactly your what you were emotionally trying to express myself as well. Survivors left with scars you cannot see.
that's right.
Horrible. Horrible. You know?
I mean, do you know the statistics, folks, that most more kids get killed in school than they do on any other thing, and there's any other situation in life. Just think about that. We live in a society where you have to kiss your kids, and you don't know if that's the last time you're going to kiss them goodbye, because you're sending them to school, which used to be the safest place on earth, where your
A
kids,
sure.
at church. This
A
is a school
sure.
and a church. And I mean, again, and it all comes down to this is common sense. And the other thing that we should talk more about is a real investment into mental health services, instead of just throwing people in prisons and throwing them around, but literally start treating people, because it only gets worse. I mean, and I know it, going into prison is there's no program, there's nothing. It's an imaginary lie that they sell you, that you're there to get reform. You're there to basically pay a price, and if you stay there long enough, you're going to get so angry at the system that you are going to come out wanting to do something to pay it back, and that's why we see such crime going on.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Look, one of the things that I turned around also that I said, in the Substack is, and I know you're going to turn around and you'll be like, oh my God, you're right. The places change, the names change, but the bloodshed does not. How many more mothers need to bury their children before someone in Washington grows a spine? How many fathers will hold their son's baseball glove, never to see him step up to the plate again? How many of these tragedies need to unfold before we admit that thoughts and prayers are not policy? How many?
Michael, the sick part that it's, none of them are even, if you take a look at social media and you take a look at how the right is reacting to it, yes, there's empathy and there's what's it called, but the politicization of it and trying to turn this into that this was all done because it was a transgender person, and turn it into something to do with transgender rights and politicize it, while kids are dying, instead of taking a look at what the actual problem is. And it's twofold. A, mental health, because no normal person would ever do that. You have to be meant to have a mental health issue, and somewhere we're missing it, either at a young age down the road, but mental health is an issue. And the other thing is being able to get access to these weapons, assault weapons, because I don't care how bad you are. If he was with a handgun, he wouldn't be able to shoot up so many people so quickly. I mean, but when you have an assault weapon and you're able to sit there outside, shoot through windows, like you said, he couldn't even go inside, start shooting through windows to be able to. That's a big problem. So, until I don't know, Michael, how many more people have to die? I think the sick part, and what I've noticed, and especially when it comes to politicians, until it's one of theirs. And I don't wish bad on anybody. God forbid any child or anybody getting hurt. So please don't misunderstand me the wrong way. But unless it hits home, people don't want to, and it's like it can't happen to me. It's like it's not real.
But Lev,
Do you understand what I'm saying to
of
you?
course I do. But here's the
If God forbid it was one of it happened in their school, and it happened in their community, and it happened to people that they knew, and it happened, believe me, they would be running and screaming and having the National Guard. Trump would send the National Guard in there.
well,
And
so I'm glad you brought that up. Big balls, right? When one of Elon Musk's 21-year-old Doge employees, big balls, got the shit smacked out of him or had his car stolen, and what do? They bring up the entire they federalize the DC police and they bring in the National Guard over a stolen vehicle, or if it wasn't even stolen because big balls got smacked around. Okay? That's what are they doing here? And by the way, saddest part, take places like Las Vegas. Republican controlled Las Vegas. You remember when there was a shooter outside from the window of the MGM, opened fire onto a crowd? To be very honest with you, Lev, even if it happens in many of these politicians' communities, even if it happens to a politician, as it did to that, what was his name, who was playing baseball, and a shooter came.
Steve
Yeah, Steve
Scalise.
Scalise. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Steve Scalise, NRA check is all that they care about. Keeping their supporters happy with this stupidity on the unlimited rights of the Second Amendment. That's all that they care about. Staying on message. And I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed with I'll tell you what else I'm disappointed about. I don't know if you're noticing it, but the lag has started again on the Substack as you and I are speaking.
Yeah, and it always does that. I don't know if it's maybe somebody trying to play, but I've noticed that it always it starts that. Well, Michael, it gets even worse. These the way they're trying to position, and they're trying to maneuver, and they're trying to use the powers, and take away. And it could be done very simply, just very simply. Just put in certain safeguards, put in certain red flags. I mean, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. This shouldn't be one side or the other. We're not talking about making it seem, but why allow such easy access to for kids, to for people with mental health issues, for people there that want to commit crime, to be able to get such easy access to weapons that are typically used for either hunting, for war,
War.
or war, or for for kind of a type of a sport. You know what I mean? But not there's no reason why a
A
20.
civilian should have them in their house. I'm with you 100%. By the way, did you get a chance to see the stupidity that came out of Fox regarding this issue, and specifically Sean Hannity, that talked about how we need to have armed guards inside, along with metal detectors inside schools and churches and
They did
so on.
they did
And
the
he's
same
go ahead.
they did the same thing after the Parkland shooting.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same thing. That was the same MO that they pushed. Go ahead, Michael. I just wanted to say that.
So maybe on top of that, Sean, what we should do is get rid of all of the stained glass windows in houses of worship, right? And replace it with bulletproof glass, because the church actually did right. They had the students in the church. They were studying. They were at mass. They were morning mass. And what did they do? They locked the doors. He couldn't get in. So what did he do? He opened fire through the window. All right. Your point exactly. He's using a shotgun. He's using these assault rifles. They go through not only the glass window, but one child and a second too. That's how powerful these things are. Look, we could sit, Lev, and we could talk about it. And, as I also finished up my Substack, I don't have the answers in terms of how to stop this. All I know is you have to make some steps. And the Republicans, these MAGA, these Second Amendment warriors, the second you even bring up a topic that has to do with sensible gun legislation, with anything to do with the Second Amendment, it becomes blasphemy.
You know how you stop it, Michael? I'm going to tell you how you stop majority of all the problems and the corruption that we're seeing play out in our government today. Take away the lobbyists, take away the super PACs, take away the dark money, take away all of that and make politics where it should be, where a donation can't be more than 1,500 or 2,500. Make it where the only way you get elected is if you go roots, knock on doors and get X amount of people to send you, not when you go behind the doors and you get a $2 million or $5 million check because the guy they gave it to you, because you and I both sat in those rooms. We've sat in those meetings. We've seen how it plays. We know how the game is played. And yeah, in some countries it's called bribery. We call it bribery when it's done somewhere else. In our country, it's called lobbying. It's called, donating through special, super PACs where the money is going off from offshore entities that nobody even knows that most of that is controlled by China, Russia, North Korea, all of these entities and that's why you see all these talking points. When you wake up, folks, and you all of a sudden see your congressman or woman or senator out there all of a sudden preaching Russia propaganda, Russian talking points, follow the money. Right away, follow the money and take a look at who are his donors. Where is that money coming from? Where is that lobbyist work? I promise you, it comes from, if you really follow it and you go down the chain, it'll come from an entity connected to a country or source that needs that push, because that's who's controlling our government. Because none of them in there are really, I mean, and I won't say none of them because you could never categorize everybody, because there are good people. There are people there that are not in it for the money, but are trying to save our democracy, or fighting for our constitution, or truly believe in the rule of law and in our constitution. But there are a lot more that are more concerned as soon as they get into office about going the road trip to start raising money. Because what most of you guys don't know is as soon as they get into Congress for the next 2 years, they're running around raising money for the next campaign to stay in office again. So you think they're out there doing work and stuff like that, but it's a death circle. They're constantly riding around, raising money, promising everybody the world, and not really spending the time. That's why you hardly ever see them in Washington D.C. and doing the stuff that they're doing. So that's one of the ways we stop all this bullshit. Because if we stop the flow of money this way, then the NRA, then these entities that are pushing these things will lose their control over certain votes and and at that point, it's not going to be such an interesting job. People are not going to want to be in Congress when they know they can't make millions of dollars trading on inside information, or getting all these super PACs when they're going to get 100 something thousand a year, and they're going to have to work their ass off for the people on that money. You know what I'm saying to you? Most, you're not going to see. So you're going to start seeing people coming in that are going to want to fight for the people. So I think, that's part of where we should fight for election reform, not Donald Trump's election reform.
You know what's crazy? Again, here we are engaging in a conversation that everybody should be agreeing with. And yet, we're 100 million people short of where we need to be. So what we're going to ask you, Lev and myself, we're going to ask you, keep smashing the red hearts. Please keep sharing this. Please keep talking about Unleash. Talk about Lev. Talk about myself. If you're a Lev supporter, hit the top there and subscribe to me. If you're a Michael Cohen subscriber, hit the Chiron at the very top left button, all right, and subscribe to Lev. And those of you that actually can support, please support independent journalists. Right? Where else are you going to get information, firsthand information from? From the people that are sitting there reading the New York Times? You could read the New York Times yourself. Where is the inside info? Where is the anger and the alarmism, right? That I try, that Lev tries, that we try to bring in order to make you understand every single day that at the end of the day, come 2026, we have 13 and a half months before that election takes place. And I know most people are like, yeah, but that's a year away. We got this. We got this. Fuck it. We do not. If the election took place tomorrow, I'm talking about the midterms, and not because of gerrymandering. In fact, we're going to talk about that in a second, but not because of the gerrymandering, not because of the games the GOP was playing, because the Democratic Party has not gone out and explained to anybody, not to an independent, not to a Ruby Red, not even to their own constituents, why you are better than this craziness going on in DC. Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. People want to see some action, and we're not seeing any action coming out of the DNC. Zero. Now, you may not like what Trump is doing. You may not like what MAGA Mike Johnson is doing. You may not like what is happening over there on the MAGA side. But you got to give them credit. They're actually doing something. Even though you may not like it, they're not stopping every single day. They're doing something. What are
Well,
we
that's the
doing?
whole, well,
What
that's
are
the
we
whole,
doing? Issuing pie graphs and charts?
but that's the whole key, Michael. You just said it. This is the biggest problem, and this is where I think everybody needs to wake up. And that's part of my next Substack letter is going to be Wake Up America, because this is just think about what you said. I feel like it's Groundhog's Day, and we wake up every morning, and what do we see? We see the mega machine coming out, and it doesn't matter how ridiculous, good, bad, or different. They're putting something out, and they're being proactive. They're being on the offense. And what do you see on the Democrat side? Right away, going on the defense. Right away, being defensive all day, and they're part of their defensive plan is to right away attack only one person, Donald Trump, call him a dictator. Call him a criminal. Call him a rapist. Call him the same things that they've been calling. What's it called? When what they don't realize, it doesn't work because he's still in office. With all of those things that they've been calling him, the people still put him in because people care about the economy. People care about freedom, their constitution. So and that's what we keep saying, that the Democrats do not have a message. They should be trying to take control. Me and Michael are going to give some free advice to all of these so-called Democratic leaders. If you really want to stir up some shit with Donald Trump, if you really want to take the bull by the horn, well, come out and take over the news cycle. Stop being defensive and start being do something. Come out with a policy. Come out with an idea. Come out with a game plan how you're going to win 2026. Don't sit there and react and say, "Oh, if you do this, we're going to do this. If you do this, we're going to do this," because that's the whole plan that they have.
The other day I was on my own Substack. I was having a conversation, and I thought to myself, what can we do in order to grow the platform really, really big, to the point that you don't need billions of dollars to win election. All this horse shit that you see on television, the advertisements, get fuck out of here. You know how few people actually watch those videos anyway? Imagine if we started a website, right? Just call it Democrats 2026, just a website. And if I was running the DNC, I would find the top 200 influencers who are Democrats. Imagine. And you know what you do? You schedule each one, like running it like a Netflix, where it's a 24-hour news cycle. 30 minutes, Lev Parnas. 30 minutes, Michael Cohen. 30 minutes, a Jim Acosta, a Don Lemon, right? A Jolly Good Ginger. 30 minutes, and people just tune in. Why would you watch MSNB junk? Why would you watch CNN or Fox News or ABC or NBC or CBS? Why would you watch any of it? Here you're getting information from the party, DNC 2026. And you could run advertisements. I bring in Midas Touch Network to run it. I'd have an Aaron Parnas on there, right? You could have an Adam Mockler or what's his name? Any one of the guys that are there, right? You go ahead and you bring people on the top 200, and then you just constantly cycle them through. But by the way, you can go back and you could watch different episodes, just and no different than you can on a Netflix or a Hulu or something like that. Something that brings people in so that you understand what is going on there. It's a self-contained
You know,
program.
you gave me an idea, Michael. I think you gave, I'm gonna just, say something out loud. Remember back in the day, for those of you that might, I feel old when I say this, but remember when we had a big problem and Michael Jackson and a lot of the singers came up, "We Are the World" to stop famine in Africa, and I think it was AIDS. Was that because they
Mhm.
came up with it was
Correct.
"We Are the World," and that was something where it combined all these singers to put together one song to bring out a powerful message. That's kind of what we need. I mean, everybody you mentioned have powerful platforms on their own. Imagine if we were to be able to put together one program even and combine all of our powers and all of our to put together one unified message.
Democracy Fest.
Exactly. And to be able to use it off of that to be able, I mean, this is the stuff we need to be able to. But again, this is the stuff
Wait, 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 wait,
people
wait,
like
wait, wait. Hold on. Now all of a sudden, our Substack family here. Lev is correct. Let's do what Lev says. Wait, 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 wait. Hold on one second. Let's put a name to it. This was the Michael doctrine we're talking about here. How did all of a sudden I become fucking invisible?
you know, Michael, we love you. We're not gonna let you be invincible. No,
Holy
Michael,
shit.
we're unleashed. It's all part of the same crew.
All of a sudden it's like, yeah, Lev is right. Let's do what Lev says. What the hell?
I love you, bro.
Vice versa, pal. I mean, go ahead, keep going. I'm just sitting here, I'm watching this. I'm saying to myself, once again, I'm a second class citizen. Yeah, go ahead, keep going, buddy, because I like where you're going with this Democracy Fest.
No, but that's what it is.
We need one. By the way, we need
Right.
one
Exactly.
big dollar donor. We'll take Madison Square Garden. We'll take the Forum in Los Angeles. But
And this is where let's see guys like Michael Bloomberg or big money donors that come up to the DNC exactly put together, like even MSNBC are starting to have their MSN Fest once a year. I mean, but see again, it's all separate, and the whole key is what me and Michael are telling all of you, and what we need to get the word out is that we need to combine. We need to be stronger because if this one has their own little thing, the Midas guys have their own thing, Aaron has their thing, me and Michael have our thing, and Malcolm has his thing, and this one has this thing. Yeah, they're all great, but they're all over the place. Imagine all of that power in one room. Imagine all that power under one roof. Imagine all that power being translated into some sort of like a telethon. You know what I mean? Like a weekly fest, having people come down, meet, interviews, having all of the Democratic, leadership there, bringing in also Republicans, not only Democrats, making it open to everybody to be able to come, ask the question, confront, deal. I mean, put together an event. That is what we need to be able, but that's part of taking away his news cycle because that would kill him. If they were to come out there and put this together and start, promoting it, he would know. Well, Michael, he wouldn't know what to do. He'd put together his own. He would try to do a rally or something that same day, or put together like Trump
But you
Fest.
know what? It wouldn't work, like the way you were talking about Live Aid. This would be Democracy Fest. There's no way that you could counter program. In fact, nobody would be able to counter program it because you're talking about, think about this. If we were able to bring, as they did with Live Aid, they brought over 200 different people, right? And just look at the size of the group. But it wasn't just the group that was there on stage or those that were fortunate enough to get a ticket. It was those that were watching it being live streamed. I think there was something like 10 billion people or something that watched Live Aid. something like that, like 10 billion fucking people around the world, we would do the same thing. Because each and every one of us, even though, let's say you and I have the same number of subscribers, chances are your subscribers and my subscribers are predominantly the same. All right, the same thing holds
Look,
true.
Michael,
Your
Shay J just said Michael has a great idea. You see that? Not second class citizen, Michael. There's people out there that agree with
fine,
you.
fine. I got 1 out of 100. But that's what we're gonna do, Les. In fact, I'm gonna really start going out there. But a lot of these very wealthy donors and so on, they are afraid. They're afraid. Why are they afraid? Well, just look to see what's
Yeah, no, you
happening right now with whether it's like a Lisa Cook, whether it's going to be people like Tish James, whether it's like an Adam Schiff, it's going
Adam
to
Schiff,
be
by the way,
Mi-
that's what
a
I'm hearing
Miles
is next.
Taylor. I think it's James Comey who's next, but it could
Could
be
be
Schiff.
no, could be it's Comey and Schiff, but I'm hearing Schiff is really because they have him on two. Schiff, they have a mortgage fraud, and then they
Yeah.
have him on this conspiracy to leak information, and
Yep.
also so they have Schiff and Trump's
Yeah.
really mentioned.
I mean, you now had the raid on John Bolton's house, so people are actually afraid because, look, like my book says, it's a weaponization of the Justice Department against critics. So, one of the things that we definitely have to do is we have to figure out how to create that 501c3 and do this democracy fest. There's no reason, we can do it it doesn't make a difference where we do it. In fact, as long as it's a stadium, simply because the goal is to live stream it. And you know what? You know how easy it would be for us to get 200 speakers, 200 people to come there, and
Oh,
you don't even make it a 1 day event. You make it like a 3 day event, like the way they do CPAC.
yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly like you do it as an event, 100%, Michael. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying to you. And you bring in that's where you bring in the what's it called, Beyonce's or the what I'm saying to you, Taylor's, to go put an event on, bring in the people. Don't you know what I'm saying? You could do like literally 3-4 days. You could put an event on and really get the message out. But the most important thing that what we also have to keep in mind, and that as part of the message, what the Democratic leadership is their biggest problem, even if they would put on an event like this, it would be an echo chamber. It would be again, it would, they keep hitting the same people. We need to go out to get the votes that didn't vote. That group of people either that didn't come out to vote or that group of people that decided to go vote for Donald Trump that are not mega, that are not Trumpers. A lot of them are independents.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things that if I was running this event, one of the things that I would absolutely insist upon is that we don't even mention Donald Trump by name. He's not to be mentioned by name. This is
Ignore
not
him.
going to, this
Ignore him.
this is not going to be a 3 day or a 2 day event where it's you bash Trump by calling him every name in the book. That's not what this is about. This is
Right.
about explaining to people. This is about bringing people back into the fold so that you understand just how bad the system is for you. Talk about issues. Like I would want to bring in individuals. Like I have Lev Parnas from Florida. I could have Lev talk about Florida. Or maybe I need to bring Florida because it's so big. You're fine. You're South Florida. Maybe I need somebody for the West Coast of Florida, right? Because it's different than you. Or the orange groves up there in the north part of Florida, right? You bring in different people. The same. We bring in one person from say from Connecticut, one person from Vermont, one person from Virginia, and you have them talk to their people so that they understand just how dangerous the system is and how hard it's going to hit them in their specific locale. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. Again, folks out there that we have close to like a little over 1,700 people right now follow, watching. And, we say that it should be 170,000 people. You know what? Just think about if we pulled off one of these democracy facts and we had a Taylor Swift come there and we had a Beyonce come there. Yes, this platform would change overnight and from 1,700 people to probably 170,000 or 1,700,000 or whatever the number should be. And that's what we need to get. We need to get the truth out. And that's why we're, literally sometimes you feel like a fish out of water, like a fish that's on top, on ice, trying to get back in water. Me and Michael keep talking about it and screaming at the top of our lungs. So for those of you out there, be an extension of our voice, be our megaphone, go out there, write your emails, make your phone calls. It's part of the great part about Substack. It's 6 degrees of separation. There's so many people out there. Just think about it, out of the 1,700 people out there, somebody might know somebody. So don't use this as just as a show that you listen to. After you get off, think about who can I make a phone call to? Who could be that person that might want to put in that first money or put together this situation? Who might be that donor I have that connection to? Because that's what it's all about. That's what we're missing here. Is we're missing the unification and the financial commitment from the team to put in the right direction, not to throw it around just to put it into these super PACs to try to be able to get favor from this, because they're all cabals, basically. I mean, and that's what we have to get out of.
Lev, do me a favor. Take us out.
Folks, I mean, it's a crazy day, crazy week. Just today in the morning, I mean, we woke up to Ukraine being bombarded and Donald Trump is nowhere to be found. Today, we had over 40 kids that died, over 18 people that got injured. Ukraine is on a massive assault. Putin's not stopping. The EU is in an outrage, and Donald Trump is nowhere to be found. He's basically, like I wrote, walking away. We have shooting. So in Minneapolis, we have 2 kids that are dead. We have 17 people that are, clinging to their lives. We have assault weapons that are loose on the grounds. And where's Donald Trump? He's thinking about, how he's going to send the National Guard into Chicago. And again, the unfortunate part, because none of what he's doing is to actually benefit any of us, or any of the citizens or the Constitution. It's all about benefiting himself, and it's all about theatrics. And the people that know him best, like Michael, like myself, like others that are on this platform, that are standing and risking everything. Because I know we say it, and sometimes because we repeat it, it sometimes maybe loses its power. But we have to really understand we are risking everything. For Donald, as you could see, the raids on John Bolton's house, you could see the executive order, him signing to go into investigation into Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs. I mean, these are things that are done out of control. So for him to go after a guy like me or Michael Cohen, and you've seen what he did to Michael for just in his first administration for trying to write a book. They picked him up, threw him away into over 40 days into solitary confinement. That's some of the most cruel and unusual punishment, folks, that you could 50 days. I'm sorry, Michael, that you could even imagine. And that's something that, nobody should go, know about. So this is one of the things that me and Mary spoke about our show, and she said, and I want to second that. I think Michael will triple it. Is Donald Trump? Our message to you is he is willing to go to any extreme. And for those naysayers out there saying, "Oh, he's just talking. Oh, it's not going to happen." Every time they say it, it happens. Every time they say it, they push it farther. So that's why now it's more important than ever for you guys to go out there and spread the message. Make sure with your coworkers, with your family, with your friends, make sure you let them listen to this show. Let them hear what people really know Donald Trump's about. And make sure to subscribe, because subscribing is for free. That's the least that any one of you is. That should be your American duty, just to subscribe to be able to get the proper information. And for those of you that can, go the extra mile, subscribe, become paid subscribers, because neither Michael nor myself have the media, corporate sponsors. We don't have these billionaires like Elon Musk. And you know what? They took away everything from us when they threw us in prison, took away our dignity, tried to destroy our families, and took away our financials that we grew for years and years, that we have to start over. So every contribution, every donation, every subscription helps us do what we do, fight and speak true to democracy. So please join us in our fight to speak truth to power and to save our democracy. God bless every single one of you. And quickly,
Thank
before we go, I'm a little plug. In 15 minutes, I'm going to do a paid subscriber live, which I haven't done for 2 weeks, for all of you, Q&A. So if you haven't become a paid subscriber, now's the time. That's another added advantage. Me and Michael both do paid subscriber Q&As, which it's an incredible treat for those of you that our paid subscribers. Pass the word out. For those of you that haven't become, you get to ask the questions. We're there to give you the answers. It's really great. So,
Yep. Mine will be tomorrow. Lev's is in 15 minutes.
and Michael's tomorrow. Perfect.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
Take care, guys.